evening, everybody, and welcome to the Panelcast. I'm your host this episode, AJ, and with me, as always, are the usual cohorts. Mr. Joey from Man Called Kraken. What's up, Joey?
What's going on? Nothing much.
We got Richard from Cookie Small Collectibles.
How's it going, guys?
And Justin from some imperialistic place we don't know about yet.
Evening.
Apparently, Justin's from the Empire.
I know. Like, Justin's just full on supporting it there.
Who's representing?
So in this episode, first off, how's everybody doing? How's everybody going? Let's play a little catch up with everyone. How's everybody's week's been?
Good. It's almost over, so that's good.
Yeah, right, Thursday.
Yeah. I got back from a long vacation. It was great. I wish I was there now. I mean, including now. But mostly at work this week. No, it's been great.
Richard, how's business?
It's a same old situation, man. Trying to sell toys. I do have a show coming up at the end of the month, I think. Yeah, like the 29th or 30th.
What show is that?
At Marshall Air Force Base.
Nice.
Cool.
Do you have
Once I get the
date?
final date and everything, I'll post about it, but I haven't got all the information.
Awesome. Well, we'll look forward to that. So in this episode, we are going to discuss a show that's only 3 episodes out, but we were all fairly excited to see was the new Star Wars TV show, The Acolyte, which just released last week. The third episode came out last night. Gentlemen, your homework assignments were to watch all 3 episodes. Were all of you able to complete your homework assignment?
I was.
All right, well, then who wants to take charge? How about the man with the flower in his hair today? Richard, why don't you tell us what your thoughts of The Acolyte were?
So I watched the first 2 episodes when they first came out. And as I had told you right after they came out.
A quick rundown of what The Acolyte is about so far.
What's that?
Could you tell the audience what The Acolyte is about so far for those that haven't watched it?
Hold on.
No? Okay, well then how about Joey? Can you tell us?
Yeah, I got my air conditioner blowing it. Give me a second.
Do you want me to tell what's going on?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, don't put me on the spot like this. Yeah, so The Acolyte is a show that takes place about 100 years before the rise of the Empire. So probably about 70 years before the prequels. Is my best estimation ish, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's irrelevant. This is supposed to be the high point of we're at the tail end of the high point of the Jedi era. I forget what that's called.
High Republic.
High Republic. Thank you. Don't sue me. And
It's like the Coder area, right?
And it's sort of a murder mystery story, although you know who the murderer is fairly soon into it. But Jedi are being murdered by a mysterious assassin who clearly uses Force powers, and you don't know the origin of those things. And early on, we discovered that the assassin has a twin, and the twin gets accused. Initially the twin gets accused of the crime, but of course, luckily it gets cleared off because I hate that trope. We have to excuse my language. We have to put up with like episodes and episodes of people thinking that the character thinks that they're guilty. We got through that. Thank you, Acolyte.
Yeah, I was grateful for that too. Yeah.
I hate that.
You don't like the term twins?
Yeah. So anyway, one of the main character's twin appears to be murdering Jedi, and we don't know why completely. Although in the 3rd episode, we are given a window into what went down. Although you don't know we should talk about that later. About the motivations we think about, because I have some things to say about that. But you just asked for a summary. Let's get through the summary.
Yeah, please.
Let's do the summary.
So, well, that's pretty much. Richard, let's continue on with your thoughts of the show.
Well, you can't hear that, right?
No.
There's a whistling coming from my air conditioner. It's annoying.
I thought
Anyway.
you had a bunch of girls whistling at you. Cat
So
calling.
after I watched the first 2 episodes, I had trouble getting through them. I've watched them twice now. So the first time I had trouble getting through them because I had problem with the character development. I felt like it was a show. It felt like a show about background characters. Like, welcome to a show about the bartender from Mos Eisley's, because it lacked background. It lacked the characters lacked depth that much to me. I didn't care about any of them. I almost hated it. But after watching the third, I rewatched all 3 of them, and I can see how the character development is it's a slow build. So I don't hate it, which is a big improvement, but I just think as a slow character development on something that I believe is only 8 episodes is
Too slow for you?
it just kind of leaves me, I don't know, almost it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, the character is getting a lot more flushed, but I still hardly care about them. And the acting is very wooden. It's a beautiful show. The acting's very wooden. It's poorly written. I mean, there's anything has plot holes in it if you dig hard enough. So I don't worry about that. It's the lack of connection to me personally that bothers me about the show.
Okay. Anybody else feel the same way?
I had a hard time getting into it. Each episode has gotten better, I think. The first episode I thought was really rough, but I liked the second episode more, and then I liked the third episode even more. I think it's fine. I'm not like over the moon about it, but I think it's got some good stuff going for it. I like all the stuff with the witches. I am definitely for more witchy stuff. I think that all is really cool. I'm definitely for like a different viewpoint about the Jedi, which is cool. Like they're kind of dicks and they're just going around snatching up kids, basically. And so I like seeing that. But no, it's got some good points. It's got the acting is pretty wooden. I don't remember the guy's name, but the main Jedi guy from Squid Game, he learned English for this role. So his acting is a little stiff. But I mean, everybody's a little stiff. That's not just, him. But
he might be the least worst offender.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Right. I mean, I knew that Carrie Ann Moss was only going to be in the first episode, but I guess a lot of people were upset about that. I kind of think she did go out like a punk a little bit. I mean, one little
you guys didn't know. Spoiler warning on this episode.
Yeah. I mean, that was obvious, but no, it's all right. I'm into it. I like the idea of the story about May, who is the evil twin, hunting down the Jedi. I liked when in the third episode when they showed them as girls how different they were from very young. May was always a little bit darker, and Osha always did want to leave and like explore the planets and stuff. So it made sense once you saw the third episode. I'll tell you my favorite part of the episode, and I didn't write down anybody's name, but the guy that was working in the apothecary shop that was like May's henchman, who I think is probably a higher up big bad in reality. But he's from a good place, and I like him. I like his character a lot. I thought he was the most interesting character, honestly. So I'm hoping
he's like the best actor so far.
Yeah. And I think he's going to be a bigger part than they're showing right now. Because like when he was talking to May, he seemed to know a lot about like, their credo and like really like kind of telling May what she needed to do. She's like, yeah, I know, and
he knew what her master wanted her to do.
Right.
And the fine details of it too.
Yes.
You know,
So anyway, he's like my favorite character so far. I really don't like the one Jedi guy, Yorg.
With the wave in his hair.
Yord.
Yeah, he seems like he's not even there for any reason. It's like that Padawan could be doing everything he's doing.
He feels like an actor out of I don't know, like a teen
He's like
soap opera. Not
he's
even
like
an
a
adult soap opera, but like a teen soap opera.
Yeah, he's like a CW actor. He reminds me of. Is sadly what it is. But I mean, he's in there because he was in Russian Doll, and the showrunner of this show was the showrunner of Russian Doll. So, there you go.
he's mostly there to look smarmy and
Yeah.
superior to everyone else.
But yeah, and there's nothing that he's doing that the Padawan couldn't be doing. It seems like you have one too many characters in that little group, But
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't hate it. It's getting better. I like the premise of the show. I was hoping for an actual murder mystery. I thought it was going to be like Jedi are being murdered and they're trying to figure out who's doing it, so that was a little disappointing. But so far, I'm into it, and we'll see how it goes. We still got like 5 episodes, so it's still quite a bit of show left, really. That's where I'm at.
Joey took notes. I want to hear what Joey's notes are.
Look at notes.
Notes.
Okay, so I have mixed feelings too, but I'm gonna do some of the positives too that we haven't talked about that are pretty awesome. Because I do share some of your negatives on this for sure, and we'll get to those.
I'm mostly positive about it. I like it more than I dislike it.
I went in. AJ opened this with like, we're all looking forward to this. I wasn't looking forward to this. I didn't have high expectations about this.
I could tell when you gave the assignment last week. You're like, I guess I'll watch it.
We'll have to watch it. I felt like, because I love Star Wars, but Star Wars has done me wrong, and not so wrong as like how the internet thinks. Like they cry about The Last Jedi or whatever. We're not getting into all this. Wrong. It's done me wrong is that it's just been mediocre lately. They've been mediocre with some of my favorite characters like Ahsoka and such. So I was like, and Obi-Wan, I felt like both of those shows could have been way better considering who they were about.
And who they had in them.
And that's, and so, all right. So to bring it back into about these Disney shows is that the writing is kind of mediocre and it's hard to escape, I still going to get the positives. So let's hold on. The positives are like the martial arts are awesome. Okay.
Yes.
It feels like the most like a Shaw Brothers part. You don't like it, man? They've been great. Well, I thought they were really great. I thought it was good.
It's like watching a martial arts class for 8-year-olds.
You're so harsh, Richard. I thought the martial arts part was pretty cool. They got a little loose with it, including like the Jedi with the shield and such. Like there's the different martial arts styles.
That was a cool take.
It felt very like not very, but it felt mildly Seven Venoms and such. With the knives and things. That was cool. Okay, Wookiee Jedi, that's cool too.
Very cool. I'm all for Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah, and I did like to see another culture using the Force in a different way other than Dathomir witches. We know that's a thing too. But like, in terms of the live action stuff, it was cool to see a different thing. Now, that's the only positives I could write down for this thing.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like the backgrounds look great.
Yeah, the production design is really cool.
But I do feel like it feels so flat, and it's such of the modern Disney shows, and I've been trying to like them because it's the content I love, but they just feel like they're meh. Like it's such a middling like level of attention. I think that is done to this. The kids' dialogue is painful, and it's on par with the kid who played Princess Leia in the Obi-Wan show.
Obi-Wan.
It's just it's so badly written. It grinds my gears, like, and you see the two kids playing off of each other, and the evil ones is just so anyway, whatever. It was hard. That was hard. Okay. And I'm going to disagree with Justin on this. I actually feel like the Jedi haven't been given a good chance to show how cool they've been since Mace Windu at the end of the prequels. It's always now since been about how can the Jedi be gray? Where is the gray space? Are they really the bad guys? And I'm like, can we? This is the High Republic. This is the end of the Jedi at their best era, and every one of those Jedi who show up at that planet to investigate those kids, they're all sus. They're all suspicious, and I'm like, where is the noble Jedi? Where is the good? We've just had these grays, and I don't know, like this is supposed to be them at their best, and we get 4 of them who conspire to be at their worst. I don't know, but also having watched that 3rd episode, nothing I saw they did rises to the level of murder, revenge that the one that was in the, he was in his meditation. He comes out and he drinks the poison. Like nothing
Right.
you did
And apologizes.
like nothing you did elevates to that level.
See, I don't know. We don't know what happened though, because when May and the Jedi guy or when Osha and the Jedi guy were leaving, all those witches were dead.
That's a good point, and I wanted to bring that up too. Yeah, keep going. Sure.
I was just gonna say, it wasn't from the fire, because
That was one hell of a fire, dude. Like,
I mean,
that was one hell of a convenient fire that burn around the door, and all of a sudden, the entire
and see,
like,
Stone Fortress. What are they fucking burning?
that's what I was gonna bring up. It's like not even
Lots
like a
of
medieval
flammable
castle where
Joey
the
on
frame
that
is
planet.
wood.
Sorry.
Oh,
It's not even
like a medieval castle where the frame is wood, and that would burn, and then the stones would fall. They were like in like a stone. Everything was stone and metal. I don't know what was burning.
Right.
It was forced.
The one thing that keeps ringing out to me is when the twins meet on that bridge, and they look at each other, and they look at each other and they go, what did you do? They basically blamed each other. So there's obviously more to this story than what
Right.
obviously appears.
Right. Yeah.
As much as we're being told she's the assassin, I don't honestly believe she's killed anybody yet.
I don't think that that's the case. In that scene that you're talking about, I think that what she was asking was, when she says, "What did you do?" in that you decided to go and be a Jedi. So in your choice of doing this, you forced my hand in doing this. I think that's what she was asking.
I feel that's how they intended for it to look, but I also think it could have a double meaning.
I'm sure you may be right. I may be
because
wrong.
I think it's being.
That was what it said to me.
Yeah, I think it may be told from 2 different perspectives, which would make the show a lot better.
I think you're hoping for that. So
maybe I am.
I personally, I don't know. I thought this 3rd episode, I don't know if it was because I felt like I was rushed to watch it. Because I literally watched it right before we got on air. Or if it's because it was genuinely just a crap fest, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. The other 2 episodes I liked, except for receding hair Jedi, something being super.
That was a bad wig, dude.
That was horrible.
That was horrible.
And the facial hair and the wig combo was really bad.
I am not a Jedi, and I know better than to play with hair that I know I can't grow. And hair plugs, they've got to have them in that generation, right?
Well, that's what hair plugs look like when you first get them.
And the BAFTA tanks, man, you got to be able to regrow hair. They grow everything else in those damn things.
No hair, no teeth. Rule. It's a galactic rule.
Right. But I felt that this episode felt cookie cutter. It feels like with all the Star Wars shows that it's just cookie cutter. Like they just copy and paste onto the stage that they built for beautiful backgrounds and beautiful all the stuff. And it's just, insert characters here and go. And here's your adventure this time. And I just don't feel like it's anything special in this one. I thought I was going to get a noir, nitty gritty Blade Runner meets something else, futuristic
Star
type.
Wars.
Yeah, type of, detective investigation series.
Yeah,
Lone Wolf and
that's what I
Cub type
thought,
of thing. Where like, these two guys are gonna just travel around solving crimes, trying to figure out who did this murder, and then you get the big reveal that they're twins at the end or something. I thought that would automatically be a better plot line than showing, hey, look, in the first episode, by the way, they're twinsies, and then that. And then Captain CW Surf Boy Jedi was not doing it for me. I just wasn't feeling it. He took me out of it, especially with his need to run around shirtless all over the place. They already have a pop of him shirtless. Like, it doesn't need to be. That's just ridiculous already. But I'm excited. I want to see it. I thought that the martial arts play and the lightsaber play was a little bit higher than you gave credit for, Richard. But that's just my opinion. And I was surprised that Carrie Ann Moss didn't last. I thought she was going to be a lot longer in there.
Well, she's been in 2 episodes.
But yeah, Jedis are dicks. Are kids stealing dicks?
Maybe she just pulled Eric Stoltz. She read the rest of the scripts and was like, you know what? Go ahead and write me off.
Right. I mean, this last episode, when they roll up, they were perpetrating jerks. Like, if they had come up and said any of that stuff, because I was
I want some good Jedi.
I was totally feeling the witch mom when the Jedi rolled up and was like, have your daughter step out here. I would have been like, fuck you, they're my kids. They don't listen to you.
But I mean, as much as we've always been told that Jedi are good, Jedi Knights they're basically lawful good. So they are right. They are the letter of the law. They are, and that means they're jerks. But because it has to be their way.
To roll up on this uninhabited planet with only one settlement and demand your children like that and just take over like that. Like, they don't have.
You remember when they came in, they said
a parent to a child. Like, who's going to walk up on you, Justin, and talk to you the way they did about your daughter,
right,
and then talk to your daughter omitting you? Would you be okay with the way that they spoke?
Oh no. Well, like when they came up at the very beginning, they were like, you guys have been, practicing the Force, unlicensed or whatever, like, and then in the very beginning, Carrie Ann Moss, like when she called in the attack, she was like, I'm here with an unregistered Force user. It's like they're regulating who gets to. Well, and then the mom said that. She's like, it's all about power and who gets to wield it,
Right.
So and who's allowed to wield it.
Right. But yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought it was going to be like a murder mystery because that's the way they marketed it.
Right.
It's not like our wrong expectations. That's how all the somebody's murdering Jedi. We need to find out who it was basically all the marketing, And so it's like, it's just, I am thankful they didn't drag out like you said, Joey, like drag out the whole, this girl did it because she obviously did not,
I hate that.
But
I was hoping for like, who remember in Marvel Comics when they did that when somebody was running around killing everybody? It wasn't Sin Eater. It was somebody.
Take a pick. I mean, it happens multiple times.
I mean, Scourge did it. Like, there's been a lot.
Yeah, somebody was running around killing all the superheroes, but they were killing B-listers.
Remember that? Like, who is Scourge? Remember that?
Right.
Yeah.
But he was like in a trench coat and a hat, and he was killing everybody. And
yeah, that's Scourge.
Yeah. And if they
had
had done
Tommy gun
in that aspect, but he was killing people based on their powers, using special things.
Right.
Would have been cooler. But now I don't know. What are we going to get the rest of the episode? Well, the rest of the season? Are we just going to watch these kids grow up and be bratty?
I don't know. I mean, I figure they think they've got one more clever hook to throw, and that's fine. I'm waiting for it, But they've got some work to do because it is pretty mid level, like it's just okay. And I'm trying to like feel excited about it, and I usually. We're all very positive about these things.
Right, we're all big, huge Star Wars fans, man. But this feels like a time filler to me.
Yeah, this does feel like filler so far. I'm waiting for a character that I like. There's not a single damn character that I like.
Right.
I didn't even like. I just want one that I care about.
Let the Wookiee fight, and maybe I'll develop a love for that character. But until then,
The one thing I was really disappointed in it because I'd never read any of the High Republic books or anything, or the comics, but I had read before they released some of the synopsis about it, and like when I had heard about the Coven, they talk about in the books like there's like these basically they call them like space Vikings. So I thought that's what the Coven was going to be like, and then I was like, "What? This is just like some lame witches." Like, I was really let down. I was really hopeful for these like almost barbaric people that were using the Force, and I was just completely let down by that. And
I mean, we kind of already had that with the Dathomir thing, the whole thing, and I don't know. This does feel like kind of a retread of some of that. I don't know why they were afraid to go the Dathomir route. They just wanted to show something different, but.
Well, they might become the Dathomir. I mean, this is like, hundreds of years ago, or 100 years ago, so.
It's only 100 years. They say it's only 100 years before the Empire. So, and like I was saying, if you do the math, so 100 years before the Empire, which means 20 years before that are the prequels. So it's about 80 years before the prequels.
And we still got to get we're still supposed to get the Coder years, the Knights of the Old Republic time.
But that's way back. Like that's long before this.
It's
stuff.
like I think
way like 500 years before this.
Something like that.
I thought that's what this was.
When it's going to be like high society and all that, and I'm excited for that. I want to see that. But then we're going to get to where it's like more of a political drama than more like what Andor was.
Yeah.
Than anything else.
Which high fantasy.
Oh.
Right.
Oh, Andor. I miss you.
Right. Well, I mean, Andor took the espionage side, where Knights of the Old Republic will be more political and senatorial and stuff like that.
See, but Andor just shows you that it can be done. You can make a great Star Wars TV show and have it not seem like it's the CW and get good writing and get good actors.
And not a single person using the Force.
I've still never seen it.
Oh, dude.
I need to watch it.
It's definitely the best show for sure.
Let's just say Andy Serkis comes and steals the show once again. He has the best episode, in my opinion. But all right, so everybody gives it a thumbs in.
Yeah, I mean,
there's potential there. We need more character development. They definitely need a new freaking dialogue writer is one thing they need. This thing's has some of the worst dialogue I've ever seen. I've seen fan films with better dialogue.
It's like
the twin kids.
Like the person writing the plot is writing the dialogue. They don't have somebody separately doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the showrunner should be like, this is what I want her to convey, but that's what we're getting in the show.
Yeah, the dialogue is just notes.
Yeah, exactly. It's, and I hate to bring up Andor again, but there are so many good like speeches and so much good back and forth between people where you were just like, well, that was like fucking poetry, it really was. And then this is just like, you are my twin sister, you are evil, and blah 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 blah. And
no,
it's just like,
stop it! No,
you nail it. That's exactly right.
It's all very, I mean, I hate to say this again, but it's all very CW, other than the expensive sets and the expensive costumes. And
well, that's what I mean. It just feels very cut and paste,
Yeah, it does.
And the twins, they got to act in this episode.
Just one girl. Oh, the younger ones?
Yeah.
They're so bad. Like, I thought the older twins were bad. These girls are way worse.
I could get two dogs to act better. Like these, I mean, oh my gosh,
they're pretty bad. Their dialogue is so bad between them,
Yeah, that's the thing. Is are they that bad, or is just the dialogue that bad?
Right. We may never know. They could be like.
I don't want
to. Everybody speaks like this.
Yeah, I'm not here to blame the kids. I'm going to blame the writers on this.
Right.
I'm going to blame the director for saying that was a good show.
Yeah,
that was a good take. Cut.
Yeah, we're going to print that one.
Right.
I mean,
Lord knows I can only imagine how bad the ones that ended up on the floor were.
The sad thing is the bare bones of it, the idea behind it is a decent idea.
Mhm.
They just decided, it's like they picked all the worst parts of it and put it together. Skip the worst dialogue, the worst actors, they probably didn't even hold auditions for this. It's just
They just opened up the door. Who wants to be in a Star Wars show?
Well,
Well, all right. Does
It's
anybody
okay.
else have anything else they want to add onto the not so acolyte?
No, like I said, I'm gonna still got 5 episodes. Maybe it'll catch. Like I said, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
It's got enough stuff I like. I like that I'll keep in it, and I'm interested to see like what who's behind it all. Which I really think it's what's his face from A Good Place, but we'll see.
I don't know. I don't know the character you're speaking of, the apothecary.
He made the poison for her.
do you remember when he
the guy that was in the shop that was selling the poison, the one she tried to when she was wired.
I don't
and the
know.
Jedi strong arm him?
Yeah,
I
And
have
then let him go
one
for some
question
reason.
that's plaguing me, and it's the whole reason I'm watching this show. And I will continue to watch this until I get the answer of this one thing, and that's how did they get fire in the vacuum of space?
I mean,
Dude,
that's
it's happened before in Jedi.
a Star Wars question.
Yeah. Don't start with the science on Star Wars because they won't.
For it to continue to burn, I was just like,
Look,
why?
No, it
no one
happened.
why
can
is that-
explain science in that galaxy.
It happened in Jedi, dude.
The
During the big fight,
TIE
the
fighter
Star Destroyer
sound.
caught on fire, and there was fire coming out of the Star Destroyer.
Or the TIE fighter sound. Like, there are no sounds in space.
Yeah, there's no sound in space.
Yeah,
either.
well,
But that's not the point. You gotta suspend
Look,
your
Leia
disbelief.
floating around for a bit,
I don't
getting
nitpick-
frozen and then bringing herself back to life.
I don't
that's
nitpick
okay.
the science.
hey,
and-
I'd rather that than find out the character development or any more of the wooden dialogue. Okay, I'm trying to latch on to something here.
I'll latch on to X-23 and her lightsaber claws when she pops those.
No.
That'll be awesome.
I did like the new droid. I thought he was cool.
The speaking spell.
It's cool.
I like having a little pocket-sized droid that you can pull out and do stuff, and the head.
And he's also a tool.
on it.
tear its head off.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool new droid.
I like
that was
the
cool.
sonic screwdriver she busted out in this episode. All right, so that wraps up this part, the review part of the Acolyte, or the bashing of the Acolyte, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I didn't mean to come on here and bash it because I do think it's all right, but we'll see.
He says while standing in front of an Imperial banner.
I went in with low expectations, and it kind of met those expectations. It's not terrible. I'll keep watching it. I'm a masochist like that.
Is there a Star Wars show out there that you have not watched aside from Ahsoka, Richard? But anybody else can chime in too.
No, I've watched them all.
I haven't watched Andor or Ahsoka.
I haven't seen The Bad Batch. Don't hate me. And I haven't seen the Tales of the Jedi.
I've watched them all. Except Miss Marvel. That counts, right?
That's not Star Wars. It's in space, but it's not the same.
It counts. It's on the same channel.
Well, yeah.
Keep watching. They'll be in the same universe soon.
Eventually. Bad Batch is one of my favorites. Shame on you, Joey.
I know. I know Justin loves it too,
Yeah.
but I have not watched it yet. Yeah.
Of all the Star Wars shows that are out there, what's your favorite? Everybody gets one.
Oh, Andor for sure.
Yeah. And/or Mandalorian season 1, maybe.
Yeah, the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian were great.
Yeah.
But yeah, mine for sure is Andor.
I mean, Bad Batch for me. But then again, I haven't seen Andor yet, so
But I love Rebels too.
I do love Rebels, but I just like Bad Batch just a little bit more.
And then, when you say Rebels, that also includes the Clone Wars, which I absolutely adore the Clone Wars. Certain seasons, episodes of that are like.
And you can't watch the Bad Batch without watching the Clone Wars or Rebels.
I have not. So I'll take you up on that sometime.
Yeah.
I love Mandalorian. I love it, but this last season of Bad Batch, last couple of episodes had me crying like a baby. So I got to go with the Bad Batch, man. That show got me, especially like at the last episode. Oh man,
nice.
That's another thing that bothers me is like Bad Batch and Rebels and Clone Wars. The writing is so good in those.
So good, Filoni, man.
And Disney, I mean, for lack of a better term, owns all those people. They have access to all those writers. It's like, what the hell?
Right, Ahsoka was just okay, and that was Filoni.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I mean, look at the DC universe. You have the live action movies that are garbage, but the animated films, which are 100 times better.
Now they're swapping because the animated films are lacking right now. But
but I mean, about that,
huh?
And said we have a video about that.
Yes,
yes.
But I thought that. I don't know what I was going to say.
No. Yeah, that was that. The fact that Filoni was on Ahsoka and it was.
Ahsoka, I think Ahsoka puttered out at the end. I think they ran out of. They were like, because once Ray Stevenson died and everything, I think they ran out of like, well, shit, what are we gonna do?
Well, it was all done before he died.
I know, but I still think that they pushed themselves into a corner, wrote themselves into a corner, and didn't know how to get out of it properly.
Yeah,
and I think that's what happened with him, because once they got once what's his name came back.
Yeah,
it got silly, and it got sloppy, and
I just felt like this is your introduction to one of the coolest characters, in my humble opinion, in the Star Wars universe. This is your introduction to the greater good, the greater fan base, and you have this opportunity to show how cool this character is, and the ancillary characters too, But then, it was just so, not enough, we all, the nerds, knew these characters were great, and you had this opportunity to show it, and then it was just like them, having these angsty conversations on spaceships, and there's parts of that in Star Wars, but man,
and it was a big will they or won't they at some point too, and I didn't, But all right, let's wrap up the Star Wars talk. Let's move on to everything else. The other part of your homework assignment this week was to go over some graphic novels that came out in '97 and decide which storyline you thought would make a great episode of X-Men '97 for the second season.
Now, you didn't say they came out in '97 because that's a very small window of time.
I wasn't even reading X-Men in '97 anymore, so.
Yes,
no, I did go back. No, you just said which X-Men storyline would you like to see in X-Men '97?
In the next season. In the next season of X-Men '97.
Right.
Okay, so what did you read, Justin?
I read The Asgardian Wars by Chris Claremont and Arthur Adams. And it would be a great 2 or 3 episode arc because it's only a couple of comics. The whole storyline was 2 annuals. The X-Men get teleported to Asgard for different reasons, but the main thing is Loki wants Storm to become the new god of thunder so he can manipulate her, and it's a great story. They all get split up. Wolfsbane, it involves the New Mutants. There's another plus. Wolfsbane falls in love with the Wolf Prince of Asgard. They all have their own little adventures all over Asgard and then come together and fight off Loki and the Enchantress and his minions, and it's great. It's like a short, it's an annual, so they're bigger, they're bigger size issues, but it's only the 2 issues, so it's not a prolonged storyline. You could do it I would like to see a whole season of it personally, but you could get away with 3 episodes. But I think it would be a great storyline for.
There were some great art and stories in those books.
Oh my
It
god,
was-
dude! That's what made me want to draw comics. It was
Just and I, you and I, we share common origins on some of these things.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
it was like that was one of the most focal points of art. I ran over those graphic novels, I don't know, 100 times.
yeah.
You know, trying to draw them and stuff. I take back whatever I was going to say because that was actually the best stuff.
No take backs. No take backs.
Yeah, that was actually the best answer.
This is just going to become short. Everybody's just going to agree with Justin.
Right.
Yeah.
We all agree with Justin. Good night, everybody.
That was
I mean,
that's the best X-Men ever, and it's
Yeah.
the best art. That's Art Adams. Like he was king tier Art Adams at that point, you know, and like
that was
So-
the first time I learned an artist's name.
yeah,
When that
So-
issue came out, I was like, I saw it and I was like, you know, and I was reading the X-Men, and I'm sure I had seen Arthur Adams stuff before, but I saw this and I was just like, what? And then they went to Asgard, so it was the X-Men, but in a fantasy story with swords and undead and armor, and you know,
I came at it from the New Mutants angle. I think we've talked about this before, but I was a New Mutants fan before I was an X-Men fan,
oh, awesome.
and like I came at it from the New Mutants side. It had like Mirage gets her Valkyrie powers, and Matt,
And gets her Pegasus.
yeah, and she gets
Yeah.
her Pegasus, and there was just so much good, and like Cannonball with like the daughter of the dwarven
Yeah.
people or the rights, and like anyway,
And Magic hooks up with Enchantress and starts learning like spells and stuff. Yeah,
it's too good. Too good. I want Justin's answer. My answer is not great anymore.
No. You still have to touch base on what your answer was going to be.
Well, I was going to go with the Age of Apocalypse because I love Joe Mad style, and I would like to see if they could do like a different change in style. That would be fun, but also like the craziness of that whole thing was fun. I thought it was fun.
No,
You know,
the character designs were so good.
right, exactly. The different versions of the characters you know and love at this point, at that point, was a lot of fun, and how they swap teams and stuff. Like, I always thought that was cool. It gets a lot of flack because it's in the '90s like collector era, but that was some good comics.
No, and Joe Mad was like a shot in the arm, dude. He was so good.
So good.
And
yeah.
I mean,
Speaking of
I
artists,
went nuts. I went nuts over Battle Chasers, dude. I bought every variant cover. It was sick, dude. I was just, yeah, I'll buy this comic.
More
Just
of
put a
it.
new Joe Mad cover.
more of this.
Yeah, it was bad, but
Yeah.
No, and Adrian Pac, I think it's a great storyline. It would definitely be the easiest to adapt art to, because I mean he just draws like crazy anime anyway.
Right. He has an animated style, and
Right.
But come on, let's think
but,
about
I
it though.
mean-
With the Age of Apocalypse, that would make a better entire season than it would just
Oh, for sure.
sure,
a quick
you
one
definitely-
to three episode or 2 to 3 episodes because of all the individual what happens to all the individual teams and all the way all the origins and everything that's split off separately and change. It would take a season just to go through and show you everything that's happened. Sugar Man,
At
all
the
that
very
Dark
least,
Beast,
a season.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, one-armed Wolverine. You know, all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
just to touch base on what's happened. Nate Gray, they'd have to explain Nate Gray, the X-Men. You know, all that to in order to get there. You know,
It would be
and
fun.
and that would be like they'd have to go back to Legion, time traveling to try and kill Magneto, only for him to kill his own father for all of that to happen in the first place. You know, like that. That's a big episode. Like,
Right.
see, I know
But
my
you know-
comic shit.
But you know, like they cruise through these storylines one storyline per episode, and that's one of the things I wish they would change is this, you know, to decompress it a little. I don't think they could do it in a single episode. The whole Age of Apocalypse, like that, all we just talked about. There's
And
no
that
way.
will not do it justice. at
No.
all.
That honestly, that would be an
It would be scratching the surface in one episode. I mean, you can't really.
it'd be a great 2-season miniseries.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah,
a direct-to-video, you know, something like what they're doing with Invincible or something like that. They can
Yeah.
put out on its own thing. Huh?
or the DC stuff, you know.
Yeah,
Or like a
something
two-part
that.
movie,
Yeah,
two-part
something like
animated
that
movie.
that's separate from X-Men '97. That could be its own entity on itself.
Yeah,
As long as they don't cheap out on it and pull out all the stuff, especially with the art. That art in there is so gorgeous that you can't cheap out on it. You
it's a
know,
lot of fun. Yeah.
Richard, what was your?
Well, Joey went with my answer, which I don't appreciate. So, but the other answer, my backup that I had would be to continue with the Fatal Attraction, into where it leads into Wolverine Origins, where Wolverine finds out that he was born with the bone claws, and you get that change in the character of Wolverine, and he becomes like a completely different character than what we had seen years before. And just like his journey into finding who he was before getting the adamantium and everything. I just, it's continuing something that they've already, touched on, but there's so much meat left on that bone. It's not even funny.
That's not any more metal. My thoughts. I honestly, the only thing I could think of was like I wanted to see more like Mutant Massacre storyline and stuff. But when I was thinking about it, I come to realize that everything that we saw in X-Men '97, it really was just cameos. All we got were brief shots of all these great episodes, and nothing really expanded upon them, which I felt was a shame. Did more disservice than it did a service, because I would have liked to. Because you notice they pulled the metal out of his bones, and the next day he's all hanging out and stuff.
Yeah, that's where like I another one that I would love would be Executioner's Song. You can't do that in one episode.
Right.
You're not gonna do it any kind of justice.
You know, I want to see everything that happens in with the Morlocks and all that stuff, but they already touched base on it in the original X-Men animated series, so it'd be kind of doing a step back. So it's like,
yeah, but there's so much of the audience that's watching it now have not seen the original.
Right. The Storm loses her powers storyline. They didn't do it the Morlocks.
Yeah.
They didn't do it meeting them, and they went right. They gave her powers back, and they just like brushed right. I was waiting for them to get into that. And they're like,
and they skipped over her whole relationship with Forge. It's just like,
And they skipped over them traveling everywhere with being in Australia, the whole nine.
Let's think the Siege Perilous, and anyway,
all that stuff going on. I would have liked to have them spent more time on those storylines than just giving a cursory glance over them like they did.
Right.
I loved X-Men '97. I will watch it many times over.
It was awesome. It was amazing.
I just wish it was more than a drop in the bucket. That's all.
Yeah. They need to decompress the storyline, the storytelling a little bit.
Now, just with what Justin had said earlier about the Asgardian Wars, that reminded me, and I went and looked it up real quick. One of my favorite trades that I got when I was a kid was New Mutants versus the X-Men. And Teen Titans versus the X-Men.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with Loki and all them, and they were in Asgard and all that. One of my favorite comics that came out, and I loved it. And I would love if they did like a movie that,
Walter Simonson.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Simonson that did that?
Yeah. And that cover in itself was gorgeous. Just seeing all the Teen Titans and New Mutants coming in, and you see Jean Grey's Phoenix in the Force in it, and then Loki above her. It was gorgeous.
Man, I don't remember that. We'll look that up.
It's a good story too. It just talks about it's basically during the Asgardian Wars. It's like a side story to all that. But
okay,
it was good, and I would love to see that if Marvel Animated put out more movies like DC Universe did with self-contained entities like that. Like we could get a Civil War like that.
Yeah,
we could get
multi-part movies,
stuff like that. Yeah, that'd be awesome. We can get Avengers stories in there and stuff like that, and not have to worry about big blockbuster live action contract negotiating. What happened to Rhodey? Why is he a different actor this time? Stuff like that. Well, he's just drawn that way. What do you want me to do? but we're
what
not.
I'm hoping with X-Men is I'm hoping that they crammed all those stories in the first season because they didn't know if they were going to get more seasons. So I'm hoping that now that they see it's a big success, that they spread it out a little bit, that they know, okay, we got a season 2, we'll probably get a season 3, so we can just let this breathe a little bit. And I'm hoping that's why the first season was like that, because they were like, we don't know how much we're going to get, so let's just fucking cram this all in and see what happens. And everyone loved it, so hopefully the fact that it was so popular gives them a little bit more breathing room.
The understanding I have is that the guy that originally directed and created the whole thing before they fired him mapped out season 2 and 3 as well. And so what they're going to do is follow his map on season 2 and 3, just hire new people to run it, you know. So they're going to go based on his outline and his everything he's doing. He wanted just with the different crew.
I've also read some stuff that says that he may not be completely done with at least some kind of interaction with the production of this show.
Right, because whatever happened that he did, they're willing to overlook thanks to the success of the show.
Yeah, they've never really said, and no one else will say, but
Right.
Whatever.
Now, the question I had wanted to bring up to you guys earlier when I was talking about the one bit of news that I didn't want to tell you about. There's something going on online with everything that the world is dealing with right now. There's been drama going on in the fact that X-Men 97 kind of hinted toward the fact that Morph and Wolverine were involved in a relationship at some point, which would make Wolverine omnisexual.
Okay.
I thought that was obvious. If you've ever read a Wolverine comic book and saw how many people he had been banging at any point in time, and the fact that Dakin was gay, and
Morph could be wherever he wants to be.
Right. And the fact that Wolverine and Hercules had a relationship at some point in the comics, I thought that was obvious.
I didn't know that.
I don't know.
But maybe people watching the show didn't know that, and now they're confused about it. I don't care.
I mean, if you live 200 years, you got to try a little bit of everything at some point.
You would think, huh?
Right. I mean,
especially
it's always been easy pickings out there, I'm sure.
Especially if you hook up with somebody that can look like anybody.
Right.
I mean, come on. He's 5'3", all right?
First of all, that's
it's hard for me to get any. And he's 5'3".
That's it. But regardless, it's a stupid art because Morph isn't a gender.
Right.
Right.
Like you can't he if anything is in this world has ever been fluid, that's exactly what Morph is. Right. You can't say, it's Morph has always been described as a male just because it's an easy out.
It's like his default setting is like
right.
He's male appearing.
Right. So you can't and Wolverine, I mean Wolverine once again, 200 years old. He was a savage. Like it was, I mean, anybody ever read about Sparta?
Plus, he ran around in the woods for a good 5-10 years. He was banging sheep and bear and all that stuff too.
Trees and
I'm sure there's a bunch of squirrels out there with his name all over it, popping claws and eating nuts.
It didn't feel out of character for me. That's such a ridiculous thing for people to focus in on because. Of course dude probably got down with everything he could.
Right. Wolverine, man.
The fact that people even want to argue about it is just asinine. What does it matter?
Right.
Just like everybody was talking about Gambit, the guy's a charmer. He's charming to everybody, men and women. It's just part of who he is.
Right.
Why does it,
Right.
I always assumed, if you ever read a comic book, you always assume that Gambit is bisexual. That's the way he comes off.
Did you ever grow up in the 80s? Almost everybody wore damn midriff.
And why does it matter?
Yeah.
Show me a Sylvester Stallone movie where he didn't wear back then, where he wasn't wearing a midriff, or a Rocky movie where
or shirtless walking around in tiny shorts, all oiled up.
Right.
Or the volleyball scene in Top Gun.
Oh wait, I'm watching that right now.
Anyway, yeah, people just like to find shit to get mad about.
Who cares? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
That's just not important in the grand scheme of Wolverine and Morph. Like, that's the last thing anybody should be worried about. You know?
Why are you worried about that? Worry about their friendship.
Well,
Worry about
the answer,
Worry about Wolverine's got this tragic thing just happened to him. Why should we worry about that?
Right?
the simple answer is
Though I would like to see.
in the comic books, it's art, so it's up for however you see it. So if you see it this way, that's how you see it. That doesn't mean it's solid. You know what I'm saying? It's our art is up to interpretation. If you interpret them one way or another, I mean, it doesn't mean that's what the writer intended. Maybe the writer intended you to make your choice of how you want your Wolverine. Doesn't mean everybody's has to be like that.
Well, that's kind of what they did in the cartoon. It was never
Yeah.
distinctly said. You know, it was just hinted at that they were very close. And I mean, Morph was very flirty. I mean, that was fairly obvious. But I mean, it's the same thing. It's like it's very subtextual. It's like
Right.
you can read it however you want to read it. You know.
And I'm sorry, X-Men 97, but I need more episodes of Wolverine and Nightcrawler at the pub.
Yeah. There needs to be more Nightcrawler, period. There was lots of Nightcrawler. There was not enough
It
Nightcrawler.
wasn't enough. No,
There wasn't enough Nightcrawler.
They made him so it was perfect.
Yeah.
Everything
Oh
they did with
God.
Nightcrawler was
The
like
triple sword scene where he was the
Yep.
swashbuckling pirate that we know and love him to be was
No, and-
phenomenal.
and he-
Like,
and he dipped into the religious aspects. He had some of the best speeches. His use of powers was excellent.
They did.
Everything about him was perfect.
I still don't know
Finally,
what his
finally, he
eyebrows
got the
look like.
speeches.
Dude, what do his eyebrows look like? Are his eyebrows as dark as his hair? His forehead the same color as the rest of his face? We don't know.
This is your question?
Like, that's just great artwork right there, man. That's phenomenal, in my opinion.
But I think another cool thing that they did. Here we are talking about X-Men '97 again because it's so great. But another great thing they did was kind of just had Wolverine on the back burner. You know,
Right. And we brought that up.
he had some cool moments,
Yeah.
but he never had an episode. You know what I mean? I thought that was awesome because they're always so ready to just put Wolverine in the front of everything.
Well, it's I
and-
mean,
that's one of the
he's been
reasons
on
that
what every
was the
team in
way
the
it
Marvel
was.
universe.
That's why I
Yeah,
wanted to see the Mutant Maskers thing because Wolverine wasn't too predominant in that. You know, I wanted to see Angel getting his wings ripped off.
yeah,
You know, I wanted Harpoon up there. I wanted to see Colossus killing Vertigo. You
Didn't
know,
they already jump to Archangel in existence though in the cartoons?
yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
they did, but they didn't show
Like how?
Like
yeah,
how
they
it
didn't show the
happened.
masker.
See, that's going to be all. I think next season that's going to be all Gambit. I think he's going to become, the Death,
The Horseman.
Yeah.
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 Well,
They show Apocalypse picking up his card at the end.
Yeah. Interesting.
but there weren't cards invented in the ancient Egypt times.
No,
Yeah, I disagree
in
with
the
you.
ruins of Genosha.
The dominoes.
There were cards in Egypt.
Bones, motherfucker. All right, guys. So that wraps up our episode. I want to tune in to everybody that watched this live, all four of you. Thanks to the four of you for being on the show.
We each brought a person.
Yay, all of you. Congratulations to yourselves. Make sure you guys tune in. Justin puts out an article every week called Shots from the Studio, where he
Justin puts out.
sometimes I have to remind him to put out, but then he does so freely, and then I never see him again. But
Yeah,
the residuals keep coming in.
I wrote up a piece about this awesome book.
Oh
I read
my
it.
god. That is so
Actually, I read that today.
The book or the column?
His column.
Oh,
I have not, but that is one of the best books of all. That is one of the best runs of a comic of all time. I want to read your column now because I want.
Now you want to roast. Hopefully, it'll get the watchers to read the column as well.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, this is the book that made me give a shit about DC. Because until then, I really didn't. I mean, I liked Batman. Don't get me. I collected Batman and Batman adjacent things, But other than that, this book, I was like, oh, I need to know more about Mr. Miracle. Oh, I need to know more about Dr. Fate, and
and a very underappreciated Green Lantern.
The best Green Lantern. The
Right.
best Green Lantern.
Nathan, if you
I'm a
want
Hal
to know,
guy, but yeah, I mean,
if you want to know about the
Yeah.
character that Nathan Fillion will be portraying in the upcoming Superman Unbound movie,
He's a Guy Gardner.
he's playing Guy Gardner.
No
Yeah.
shit.
Then
That's-
you'll need to watch. You'll need to read these comics. At least pick this first one up.
You got to pick up the run. Read
Also,
the.
you need to pick up the Authority because those characters will be shown in the movie as well.
Really?
Yes,
Hmm.
I'm excited for that. At least I don't care if they cameo. I just want to see Jenna
Yeah,
Sparks.
I love the
you know.
Authority. That was such a good book.
I hope. Oh my god, if they bring Grifter. Anyway, I'm happy. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next time on the Panelcast. Make sure you tune in weekly to Richard's podcast called the Chaos Collect Customs. Correct.
correct.
Tune into the Panelcast on a weekly basis. Richard and I sometimes we do them together, sometimes we do them solo. Either way, we're still putting them out on a weekly basis.
Well,
Joey
we
doesn't
have
do
Clash
anything.
at the Castle on Saturday, so
We got a wrestling coming up soon. Joey doesn't do anything, so never pay attention to anything he does. So, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Later, guys.